like as I understand it, like when people slide, it'll tear up the turf, and that slide will still be there.
Yeah,
they hype that up, but I think it's funny how minute these changes are, and
yeah, and how big they make them sound. And sound like, no, look at the grass, it looks real.
We locked ourselves in a bunker and started adjusting the grass.
How's it going, man? I really like your Still and Carhartt combo. Coming in full woodsman.
That's right. That's right. Cut a tree down out back right before we got started here.
Oh, really?
Doing well. No.
Oh, I was going to say, because a tree fell down in front of my pad. That would have been ironic.
Yeah, I bet. How big a tree fell in front of your place there?
It's a huge tree, man. It's not no little shrub. Yeah, a little tropical storm just swooped by and gave us a nice little backhand.
Great day. Yeah.
Mostly rain.
Yeah, that's something to wake up to.
Yeah. Happens every summer. Well, not every summer, but pretty often. Great to see you again, my brother.
Yeah.
You doing good?
Yeah, doing well, man. It's good to see you too. Yeah, just kind of getting woke up good here. A bunch of coffee in me. Had a walk and some biscuits and gravy. So.
Oh, biscuits and gravy. Well, hey, let's get after this 10th episode.
Yeah.
Welcome, listeners, gamers, non-gamers, PvEers, PvPers, and even NPCs. We do not discriminate. I'm Ovox.
And I'm Chuck Tomahawk.
And this is New Wave Gaming, the podcast.
Right.
It's our 10th episode. We're excited. We're pumped to be here as usual. We're going to be talking about some cool, interesting topics. Sorry. It's still early. Interesting topics. This is going to be one of our New Wave DLC downloadable content episodes. We're checking myself, really just like to touch base on some cool news. Sometimes it's just stuff we want to talk about and really kind of just get to deviate a little bit from our main vertical of topics and conversations. What's cooking, man? How you doing?
Good, man. I woke up a little late, so I haven't done any gaming today. You been on anything this morning?
You know, I've been playing EVE Online a bit. I've been getting back into that. Uh-huh. And in that game, it's a total space MMO, permanent history server. There's only one server. I don't want to get into all the details, but it's a really awesome game. It's only on PC, though, I believe. I think there's also mobile versions. Really fun game. Been playing that, and I got on this morning just to double check if one of the corporations in that game had accepted my application, because you can like fly with corporations and stuff. It's really awesome game. Yeah, if you're into slow burning, like massive multiplayer online games where you can just like casually or very proactively play, which I like to play kind of like between casually and semi, often. It's a wonderful game. So I've been getting into that a little bit. Yeah. I can see that Ark still has its claws deep into your flesh. You're me like a couple of years ago.
Oh, I think I set out one afternoon there to download EVE, and I thought, I'm just going to check on my dinos here real quick.
And then you were at the bottom of an ocean taming a Tussie.
God, it's hard, man. I do evaluate things like I'm like, boy, that could cut into my Ark time there.
And it's got some similar characteristics in that it's a game where you just kind of build up and slow burn and enjoy it and stuff. So it's a free game. It's there.
Yeah.
And that goes to all you listeners out there. It's a dope game if you want to check it out, especially if you're into like spaceships and science fiction, and like if you're a Star Trek nerd like myself, you'll get into that deep.
And so it's PvP, like pretty much too, and
yes, I would say overall it's PvP in the sense that if you plug into that game and you access it, you are effectively agreeing to being vulnerable at any time. Mm-hmm. It is a PvE game as well, because you have to craft and mine and build and and trade and you interact with NPCs, and it's a deep game, but it's definitely PvP. Like it's always PvP. Yeah. And that's actually kind of one of the reasons I want to join a corporation, because playing alone, the game it's vast. You can do so much stuff, but there's some things that are easier to get into if you're part of a corporation that already has a large economy, because and resources and fleets and stuff, because the game, going off on an Eve tangent here, listeners, sorry, bear with us. The game, everything in it is made by the players. Everything that is made is only made once, and if it's destroyed, it's gone unless someone else makes one. It's just, man, so I forgot what I was getting at.
No, it
what did you ask me?
In depth. Just about like how much PvP was involved in it.
Oh yeah, it's full PvP.
Yeah,
but I don't want that. I don't want that to like make one think that like, oh, the second I get on, people are going to be after me. No, it's not like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's when you leave space dock in your ship, it's best to be preemptively aware that you might lose everything in that ship. So you want to make sure every time you leave a space station or a port that you're doing it purposefully, like you have an objective to accomplish. And that being said, man, I've spent hours just in spaceport trading on the market in the game, just making ISK.
Interesting.
Which is interstellar credits. Yeah, man. There's a comprehensive market where you can buy and sell and make profit. Dude, when I'm in there, I'm in full Ferengi mode. Making that gold press platinum for all you Star Trek fans out there.
That's right. And there's like don't the Ferengi have like 100 rules of commerce or something like that you're supposed to follow?
Oh yeah, gosh, what is that thing called? Oh gosh, Chuck, what was the name of that?
It's good though.
Is it the rules of acquisition
That's
or something like that?
Yeah, the Grand Nagus lays them out there sometimes. Yeah.
Oh man, dude, gosh. Okay, this is not a Star Trek podcast, man. I was about to go on to another tangent.
No, I definitely do want to get into Eve, and I think folks out there might be interested in there as well. So it's good to hear a little synopsis. I think because. I guess one of the things I was getting at with PvP is like, do you have stuff that you're worried about right now, like that's vulnerable at this moment, sitting somewhere, or is it that kind of PvP?
Don't. It is that kind of PvP, but I don't have that preoccupation right now because I'm just one solo pilot. They call them pilots in the game. They're also called capsuleers. And I have my ships in space dock. I'm in a part of space that's called high sec, which is high security. And when you're in high sec space, by the way, this is a massive universe in the game. Like it's huge. And I'm in this tiny little part that happens to be high sec, which is high security. And in high security, there's I think it's called Concord, which is like the interstellar police force. And they monitor the jump gates between which you can warp from from solar system to solar system, galaxy to galaxy or whatever. And they monitor that. So when you're in high sec, you're safe. You could still be attacked, but you're safe. But if you go to a solar system that's like medium security or low sec, or if you even go to null sec space, you got to be ready for that. You got to be ready. It's so sick. It's such a sick game, man. Matter of fact, don't download it. I don't want you to download it because if you do, I'd be pulling you away from Ark, and I know you like Ark.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's true. It's fun, but it is a slow burn. So you got to be into that kind of gaming, that genre, because it isn't like a game that's going to provide a fast. Doses of adrenaline like your good first-person shooters and Call of Duty and stuff like that. I mean, there are times in the game where you get that going, but for the most part, you're just exploring, mining, going into pirate battles with space pirates and stuff, which are NPCs and all that. And it's just a fun game.
Wow. Yeah. I'll definitely check that out eventually. I think when I get where I want to be in Ark. I think I think it's interesting how there's a lot of flavors of PvP, even in Ark, like whether there's offline raid protection or purges, and something I've done lately is the server I was on wasn't having a lot of folks on it, so I thought I would do the opposite and like find the server that had the most people, and just kind of like that had just started, just wiped or whatever, and so it's different. Like it doesn't have any offline raid protection, so your stuff is always vulnerable, and there's tons of people around, so it's more like I'm making these little bases like hidden up in little cracks in mountains, and having like
little rat holes they call them.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 of them kind of going at once, and it's a different feeling for sure. You're kind of on the run essentially.
Yeah, always, especially on Ark, man.
Yeah,
trying to stay hidden.
Yeah, so that's interesting, but that's still what I've been into, and I had some fun researching for this episode. Too, I haven't strayed much from Ark, so it's nice to kind of see what's going on out there in the rest of the video gaming world.
Totally, man. You got to be able to break away a little bit. I think, if you got 10 hours of gaming or whatever in a day, which is a lot. I know I'm just using that as an example. I guess you just want to make sure you're not putting it all into one single game, because you eventually it will get, it's like a good song that you love. When you hear it too many times, sometimes you just permanently end up not liking it. Like, there's songs out there that like when they came out, I loved them and they hit hard, like, oh yeah, I'm head bumping or whatever it is. But you hear them enough times, and then now it's like a permanent, like, oh God, that song again.
Well, imagine what it's like to be a musician that plays that thing like every night for 20 years.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
We got some interesting things that we found on the interwebs, some interesting topics to talk about.
Yeah.
We really appreciate all the listeners coming back for our 10th episode. This is kind of like a little milestone for us. It really ain't much of a milestone. I think 100 is the real milestone, but it's still awesome. We got 10 episodes under our belt. If you like the show, we would love so much if you left us a positive rating and review on your podcast app of use, of choice, of preference. Hell, even if it's a negative review, as long as it's 5-star, we'll shout you out. We'll read it on the podcast. No biggie. So, Chuck, in preparing for this episode, I think you shot me a message, and I kind of caught my attention because it was a CNET article, which I know they do cover. I think CNET covers mostly just technology in general, right?
Right. Yeah.
The CNET, is that a magazine, or is it simply it's all online now these days probably? I think it's always been online.
I find myself looking at it like if I'm getting ready to buy some piece of hardware or something, they'll have some reviews and maybe rankings of the top, this or that I end up looking at.
Roger that. So I get a CNET article from Chuck. It says, Impossible Super Mario Bros. Record has been broken again. Articles by Oscar Gonzalez, CNET.com, published August 8th, so not too long ago, last month, and it was beat by a whopping 5 frames. And man, and this is the Super Mario Bros. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Nintendo came out on the Nintendo Entertainment System, 1985. And this was actually, for me, Ovox, this game was a big one for me because it was really one of the first video games that I ever played. It was on the Nintendo. It was one of the games, I think I've mentioned this before in previous episodes, that there was a really close family friend, Johnny G. Whenever we'd go to his house, like I knew it meant like either playing the Nintendo that he had or jumping on his trampoline. And it was always a real hard decision to make. I usually I'd oscillate between both. I'd bounce myself dizzy, and then I'd go in and play some video games and, quote unquote, sit too close to the TV. But this, check it out. You can find plenty of videos on YouTube, of course, and pictures online. But this was one of the first Marios meant the world to me. But it was also a game that consistently kicked my ass. Like I could not do that. Like this, it was always a flower coming out of the green pipe or one of the mushrooms, or I wouldn't nail that jump quite well, and I'd fall into a hole, or I could never.
That cloud throwing things, like it was almost like he could read my mind or something.
He's like, I know where you're gonna jump, Chuck.
Get some.
That's it. It's like, start over. Fuck. Damn it. Dude, it was a frustrating loss too, because you get the amount of lives that you get, and that was it.
Yeah. And do you remember any game that you played before this that had secret stuff like this one did? Like the warp zones and the invisible this or that you hit, or that something that caused a grapevine to go up,
or you mean like going down the green pipes?
Yeah. Those as well, or just just the hidden stuff. I mean,
that's a really good question, man. And I was gonna answer. You know what? It was really foggy back then. I don't remember, but now that I really think about it, it was the first game I think that I ever played that had secret stuff, like you said. Like I know there's a part where you can kind of like, if you jump right, you can go through the wall and it'll take you to a room where there's like three pipes that can suck you to the next world. Yeah.
Yeah. Zelda was kind of like that. Zelda had those, you use the little explosives to find stuff hidden in the walls. But I can't remember exactly where, when I first played that, but that was one of the things that kept me coming back so much. And I think one of the things that just, kind of playing as a kid, like I did a lot of random stuff. Like you've got kind of, like sort of my thought pattern was just to screw around and find stuff like that at times. And, it's kind of the opposite of speed runs, like we're talking about here. Like I don't know that ever really occurred to me. Like, let me see how fast I can knock this out.
No, man, because I'm just struggling to get past level 2, level 3. Obviously I got further than that. I do remember beating the game, but it was a struggle and a half.
And I was picking up everything. I mean, it was loot. Like, there was that little dopamine hit, I think, when that ding.
Bust
ding.
those bricks.
Yeah. I was just.
If there was a brick, it needed to be busted. We weren't speed running nothing, man. Going 2 miles an hour, dude. Mario's just like slow walking when we're playing it.
But great day. You watch these speed runs. These guys are out of control. Like honestly. I think to get to this point, like where you're beating, like you're going for this record, like I would hate to even imagine how many times that kid's done that, like how many runs that took, and it kind of brings me back to that concept I used to do as a kid where, once I was home from the arcade and I had that game and didn't have to put a quarter in it, if I got killed pretty early and I knew I needed those 3 men to fight the Cloud Man later on, like I would start over. Like, it's like,
yeah, I used to do that too. I'd be like, I'd get killed by a mushroom or a flame or whatever, or the flower would come out of the tube and I'd lose a life and I'd just be like,
yep,
starting over,
restart.
Fuck it. Yeah, restart.
I think you probably even had to. I don't know that was kind of built into the game. Like you paused it and it had a quit button. I almost feel like I had to hit that second button on the NES, like not the one that caused the game to pop up, but the other the reset button.
The reset.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. And there'd be times where we were just like blasting that reset button, because things wouldn't be going our way. And I don't know if this ever happened to you, but when I was in that pattern of like where I knew that I needed all of my lives if I wanted to make it to a certain point in the game, every time I'd fail, I'd hit the reset, be like, oh man, I died already. I got to restart because I need to get it all. It would become a vicious cycle because every time that happened, you'd get a little bit angrier and a little bit angrier. And then it would make it worse. Like your movements would be worse, because the anger is just making you.
Yeah.
And eventually it'd get to a point where you're just like thumbing the reset button every it's like,
well, and especially in that
and now
environment.
there's people beating it in like, less than 5 minutes, the whole game. What?
Well, and especially if you're having to share turns with your brother or your buddy, like, they're kind of like, that's not like that doesn't fly as much, like you're kind of like, that's your turn, pal. Like finish it up. But
hey, yeah, pass the control over there, buddy.
I'm sure in these speed runs too, like if anything goes awry, like it doesn't even have to be that they lost a man. Like if you just miss a step, like you're not beating that record. So you've got to start over.
Man.
And
yeah, so let's check this out real quick. This brings back so much nostalgia for me. Oh, and on that top, speaking of nostalgia, that was something I don't want to forget this, because I watched the video of this streamer we're going to mention here. We're going to read a little bit of this article from Oscar Gonzalez. Full credit to you, Oscar. He did it on a keyboard, so he was clearly, I believe, using an emulator. So, I mean, a record's a record, and fair enough. This is mind-boggling. We're going to read about it and talk about it, but I'm curious, if someone had the original console, or maybe he did, but he was just using keyboards and stuff. I wonder what the record is with someone using the original NES Square AB controller.
I agree, and the thing that struck me the most is he was actually having a conversation with a Twitch stream while he was breaking this record.
Yeah. I remember I opened the video. I'm like, oh God, I gotta watch this video, because I want to be informed for our podcast episode. It's only like a 4-minute video.
Yeah, and he fixes something like there's something on the while he's one of those moments when he's landed and he's waiting for it to reload to start the next level. He fixes something on his computer. He's like, let me fix that real quick, and
let me deviate my focus from this task that's just just a Monday.
and the other thing that struck me is how close he had to come to the man-eating plants, and especially when he was in the water zone, and those things, the flaming arms are kind of swinging around.
Yes,
he clipped the edge of that. The hitbox must be in the center of Mario because his head hit it.
Yes, dude, exactly. There were 4 or 5 times, I'm sorry, I'm a little away from the mic. There were 4 or 5 times that I was like, what? How did he not? What? Didn't he just? They touched, because he literally the flower, the one I remember is he landed on those green pipes and he'd land just on the edge,
just past it, just
or just before it, or just past it, while the flower was fully out, fully erected, fully erected flower coming out of the pipe, and little Mario just made it. He hit the side, keep going. I'm just like,
yeah.
Every time I did that, I'd die and I'd have to start over. So yeah, very small hitbox.
Yeah, and he was in full control of it. And as I understand it, there's sort of something they can program a computer to play the game, and through that they figured out what. I want to say 4 minutes and 53 seconds is the fastest an AI can do it at this point. And so he's right on that. I mean, within a second of it, and
yeah, when you watch the video, it's funny because he didn't even realize until someone actually said, "Hey, man, you beat it again," and he realizes, and he obviously has a.
What do you think was going on there? It took me a minute to understand that. I feel like that he had something that was timing it, sort of. And then it probably was rounding up that place, so it said 8, I think, and it was actually 7 something. Is that why he didn't?
Yeah,
know?
that's kind of what my understanding was. Is from watching the video, it looked like he had a timer going, and I think he just saw the timer and it just read the same as last time and was just like, okay, whatever. Yeah. But when he actually got into the milliseconds and frames per second, it turned out to be so many milliseconds less, which was about 5 frames less, effectively beating his own, which I think it was his own record that he beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Let's take a quick read of this real quick. It says, a Super Mario Brothers speedrunner seemingly did the impossible by beating his own quote-unquote impossible world record in the classic NES game. Twitch streamer Nifsky completed Super Mario Bros. In 4 minutes and 54 seconds and 798 milliseconds on Sunday. Of course, this is from a month ago. This edges out his previous record of 4 minutes and 54 seconds and 881 milliseconds set last December by 3 milliseconds or 5 frames. Those 3 milliseconds, man, they sure had, like, when he noticed that, or when his buddy or whoever he was talking to in that video, he got real excited.
I honestly, if I was looking at that, I feel like the place he made that time was kind of what we were just talking about, because it was like that flaming arm is kind of in the way of that pipe, and I bet it's whoever gets the closest to that without hitting it, makes it to that pipe the fastest. Because some parts of it I could see how it's just kind of the same every time, but and I guess to some extent that is as well, but. Man.
Yeah, I'm sure he's probably found like the places in the game where he seems to be vulnerable of dying, and the places that are smooth sailing for him. So he probably knows, from level 1 to level 3, I know it's smooth sailing. I'm gonna have to worry about this spot at level 8 when I transport through or whatever. Yeah. And be careful here, so that he's already like kind of like when he's approaching that spot where he usually has a hard time, he's probably mindful of it ahead of time. And when he got there, he was making those crazy jumps, sticking those landings just outside of the hitbox of the enemy, like, and the whole time, all you hear is boing, 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 at the end or whatever.
He gets the rights the bowl.
Oh man,
craziness.
This is off topic, but another thing that comes to my mind is, it was Super Mario Brothers that came with Duck Hunt.
I saw that. Yeah, it was a double.
Remember Duck Hunt?
Yeah, when he restarted it had Duck Hunt under there. Yeah.
Duck Hunt, man.
The light gun.
What else to say here? It says Nifsky was the first Super Mario Brothers speedrunner to complete the game in less than 4 minutes and 55 seconds, a feat considered to be almost impossible for players. To give some perspective, the first run under 5 minutes was done back in 2010. It took 11 years to beat that time by another 5 seconds. An absolute perfect run has a time of 4 minutes and 54 and 265 milliseconds, which was done in a tool-assisted run, meaning all the controller inputs were programmed and designed to be so optimized that humans wouldn't be able to replicate it. I think that's what you were talking about, Tomahawk.
Yeah.
Dude, Chuck T coming in again with that unique intel, man.
Hey.
Jeez. Yeah. Last time we were talking, you brought up that, like, so I saw an article referring to arcade stance, the way a kid stands in front of an arcade box when facing a boss fight. Like, what? Great info, man. I love the stuff you got. Anyways, then it says, Nifsky said this run will likely be the last to not include a new tactic on the second level. Wait a minute, did I read that right? Nifsky said this run will likely be the last to not include a new tactic on the second level of World 4 that he calls Lightning 4-2. 4-2, I think, is the level, of course. It's a trick that can shave even more milliseconds from his time, but it requires incredibly accurate inputs to pull off, which is what we were talking about, I think.
Yeah.
Just like pinpoint, like land here. You cannot land anywhere to the right or to the left.
Yeah. And it sounds like it's so difficult that he's not even attempting it on these runs. And he's pretty much saying, unless you do that, you're not going to beat this, because this is perfect. And yeah.
Obviously I ain't no speedrunner, but part of me wants to, like, just kind of like, what's up, bro? Put an actual NES square controller in his hand and be like, try this. Just to see, But what do I know? Don't listen to me. I'm not hating. I think that's badass. 4 minutes, dude. What was it again? 4 minutes and 54 seconds with 798 milliseconds. Whatever. 4 minutes and 54 seconds. That's awesome.
I think you hit on it though. Like why I don't do this. Like why it never occurred to me. I think, or even as a kid, is that anger that you're talking about. You know, those failed attempts where you get just angrier and angrier, and you eventually throw the controller or
punch the console and break.
Yeah, something to the point, you know, that my dad has to come back there and be like, you know, or something.
Boy.
All right, let's put the video games up and get on outside. It's like, this ain't healthy for you, boy. So I know not to put myself in that environment. You know, where I'm going to snap, so I'm just not gonna.
I'll give you a reason to get angry, boy.
I'm not gonna try.
Why don't you go start that lawnmower?
But it seems like, you know, I think they've got that. There's something about this game, especially because there's another like community I've saw a good bit of media about in this where people make their own levels for this. For you know, this or another version of Super Mario, and they're
I saw something about
they're
that.
nuts, dude. They're nuts. I mean, they're like this. You have to be as accurate as this guy's being because there's something at every point in the screen. Like pretty much,
yes.
You know, I mean, and it's like a bullet is going with them, and they're having to constantly land on that bullet. And keep going. There's no floor. Like they're just at some point they have to get something like that flying and ride it. You know, essentially, and you know, they'll be Twitch streaming at the same time, kind of like that was. They're like, oh, little tricky here. Oh. You know?
Wait, but what do you mean? I don't understand, Chuck. You lost me. Like they're on other because I do remember seeing that someone. I don't remember which Mario game it was. I think it might have been Mario 3 or something. But someone had basically like reprogrammed a level in the Mario game just using the Mario controller. Or do you mean something else?
I mean, there's obviously a sandbox version of this out there somewhere where I could create my own level if I wanted to. Like with everything that you've ever saw in a Mario game.
Yep.
You know, buzzsaws.
You mean like on PC, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I want to say the guy that we've ran across that does the 2 men 1 base type rating thing. He does this as a side. Another thing that he does is he Twitch streams these incredibly hard Mario levels. And
gosh, what was the name of that channel again, man? I loved watching his videos.
He's got a pretty decent beard, and he.
Yeah, at first I thought he was so annoying, man. I was like, God, this guy, like, I would not get along with this guy in real life, but I love his videos. I like Rex, though. Here's my man, Rex. And Rex is like, hello. Yeah, which, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about a YouTube guy that does videos about Ark Survival Evolved, where him and a buddy raid bases. So he calls it 2 men 1 base.
Yeah,
which is a clever name, I think.
Yeah. They take.
Anyways, so he does that stuff.
I feel like it's him or a guy that looks a lot like him, similar personality, and you know, they've kind of got his face up there, and he's Twitch streaming, and he'll have excerpts on TikTok where. Yeah, he's just running these levels that are just stupid, dude. I mean, it like I say, it has no floor. There is nothing for him to run on. He's having to like there's a bullet that's shot at one point, and he has to just kind of keep it in the frame.
Okay. Oh, I remember what bullet you're talking about. I'm sorry. When you said the bullet,
I want to say his name is Bob. Like.
Yeah, that cannon shot thing that just flows across his screen.
He's got eyes, man. He's alive. He's got a soul. I looked him in the eye. I looked him in the eye. No, dude, I saw this whole thing. It was a parody of his life, and like once he went off the screen, he kind of
the bullet.
Yeah, he was just going in darkness forever, and it was like the worst. It was kind of like that Metallica song One, like the guy that couldn't hear or see, like he was just like in this nothingness floating forever.
Oh, God,
and he finally,
please delete TikTok.
No, wait. He finally gets back, like he finally comes back into a Mario level, and he's like, oh my God. And somebody's playing Mario, and they land on him, and it starts him falling, and he's like, well, at least I can experience the sweet kiss of death. And it turns out there's like some hidden lower levels, and he goes past them, and he's into darkness again. It's just like,
you gotta send me that. You gotta send me that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. So, props to Nivsky. And yeah, man, you know,
Speedrunners in general.
don't stress it. You don't have to beat your record again. We get it. We get it.
You're good. You're good. Yeah.
So, moving onward.
Forward with the hammer out.
Yeah. So FIFA.
Yeah.
FIFA is. It looks like it's coming to an end.
I think as we know it, for sure.
That's the thing. It's coming to an end as we know it, and I think it's going to be reincarnated as. Shoot, let me bring this up here. I got an article. I know, Chuck T, you probably wanted to touch on this one as a FIFA veteran.
Yeah, I want to say it's about time for the World Cup, actually, in real life there. The soccer tournament, I think, is in Qatar this year.
Is that what it's called?
The country or Qatar?
Quatter?
I
think it's called Qatar.
Yeah.
Or Qatar. It's either Qatar or Qatar, depending on who you ask. But we'll go with Qatar. I like that, Chuck.
Yeah. Yeah. These are a little unique in the Southern lexicon. So, yeah, it'd be qua.
It's okay.
Pretty much give it an A.
I love it. You know?
Yeah.
Hey, listeners know what they're getting into. We got, a Southern gentleman here, 11 Southern gentleman,
right.
Gaming veteran, man, with that lingo, man.
That's right.
Love it.
Full of biscuits and gravy right here in the flesh. So, yeah. I have to say, like, I didn't really grow up a soccer fan, and I even tried to play it a little bit in the little leagues, and it I couldn't really get past not using my hands, I think, and I love watching the World Cup, dude. I've gotten so excited about that soccer tournament. Like it's exciting. Like I don't like have any question why this game is as popular as it is. Like it is, like, the hype is unreal. Like, people fight.
Oh yeah.
Like in the
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and it's not like people don't. Oh, sorry, a little hiccup there. No, there's plenty of fights in the larger sports. You know, when team rivalry gets heated.
I mean, the fans.
It goes without
I'm not
saying.
talking about on the field. Like, I'm talking like
No, fans, of course,
yeah,
fans.
Yeah.
But I think there's especially someone that lives in Mexico. I would never argue with you that football or soccer is the world sport.
Yeah.
And the hype is real. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the hype is real, and there's controversy, and there's billions of dollars, and just a crazy reach, political I mean, FIFA and soccer, man, it's a real, monster of a industry.
And I bring that up just to realize what it must be like to sit at the table, and negotiate about this trademark and these likenesses and these things that we expect in this game, because some of that hype makes it.
Oh, is that what this is all about?
I feel like
Just
it's one of the reasons.
Just for context,
it's one of the reasons that they have. Like, say if it was the NBA or the NFL sitting down to negotiate with EA, like, I feel like they have a certain amount of clout, and I think they're like here, and I think FIFA is above that because it's the world's game. I mean, football is popular in America, and a lot of folks kind of watch some American football around the world, I'm sure, but not like this, not like soccer, or football.
Well, and soccer's starting to gain some real steam in the United States, man.
Oh, absolutely!
Like, it's getting there
in my lifetime for sure. It's gotten gotten super so. But yeah. As I understand it, there's some sort of deal going on with EA, and I think that's the Epic Studios and FIFA.
No, Electronic Arts.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Is that a different studio?
I think they're all part of the same.
Okay.
Usually when I'm opening up one of those games, I want to say the word epic will come up at some point. I could be wrong on that, but
yeah, I think that might be. It doesn't matter, but I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So yeah, I think they've had this contract for a number of years. I understand this is like the 30th installment. I can't remember exactly if they've always been with EA like that.
I think so. Let's. I got an article here. It's from GamePressure.com. It's from May, so a few months back. And this isn't like a new topic by any means in terms of like it's extremely recent. We just wanted to touch on it because I think FIFA is near and dear to Chuck, and I didn't realize that this was going to be the last FIFA game.
Yeah.
It says FIFA dies. EA Sports FC is born. Now official. Of course, back in May, this was now official. FC means football club. Football. This time officially in 2023, the FIFA series will change its name to EA Sports FC. But before that, the developer intends to provide soccer fans with, quote-unquote, the best FIFA ever. Rumors circulating the web for some time now that have been confirmed. The FIFA series will officially change its name to EA Sports FC. However, this will not happen in 2022, but only in 2023. In the meantime, EA Sports intends to serve soccer fans the best FIFA ever with the World Cup 2022 mode. The tournament will take place in November and December on the Qatari pitches.
November and December. Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, I kind of, I went and I watched some trailers of what this FIFA 23 is about and kind of people going over the significant changes. And I think this kind of harkens me back to when we were talking about Art 2 coming out and they're realizing there's going to be these almost wholesale type changes. And you realize how when a game's come out 30 times like this, the changes, like they spent half the video talking about the grass. Like the changes in the grass that are coming up, that's how far, no pun intended, in the weeds we are as far as game development at this point.
I saw that.
See what you did there.
Well, and that's kind of the thing, right? A lot of people argue that these games really don't change much.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? It's like the big change is the
would
grass.
That be your argument as well, Chuck?
Yeah, and like another part of the video is about, and when the game starts, there's this new thing where it shows the fans coming into the stadium. And it's like, yeah, like I won't be hitting start there, like to get that over with. Like, and, you'll watch it once, I'm sure. Like it's exciting, but I think, there's going to be, always the new players. Like I think, just the fact that it has this contract, and so there's always new stars, and there'll be, things like that obviously attract folks to this. And there's always a little bit of tweaking of the, just the mechanics, like whether you use your left foot or your right foot, and different animations that they've added to the game. And it sounds like they went out and actually got a lot of they used to put these little sensors all over somebody's body and kind of be in this suit, where they would do motion capture. But I want to say that goes down a little differently now. I don't know that for a fact, but they did something like that. They got a bunch of motion capture type stuff.
Well, they got new platforms to work with. They got the PS5 now and the new Xbox, and I don't know necessarily if they're messing with a new engine or anything. But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and they're pushing things a little forward there, and I think they have a problem with this game because it's so complicated. Like far as actually, when you really get someone that can execute all the skill moves and that kind of stuff, that there's almost like a gatekeeping of sorts or a barrier for new players. So they have this new training mode, I think, that is one of the solutions to that, where it kind of helps you. Just kind of understand how this game works and
help you not suck.
Yeah. Essentially.
Yeah, I remember playing. I remember playing FIFA in university with my buddies. University in Mexico, and they were all savages on FIFA, man. Because when they weren't in class, they were playing FIFA. And it was always them against them, and we're talking, 4 or 5 people just rotating and doing matches after matches, ordering pizzas and stuff. Yeah. And eventually I gave in. I'm like, if you can't beat them, join them type of thing. Because I liked playing other types of games. And I got some skills at the time. I enjoyed it. I'd get some goals here and there, but It was always an ass whooping.
Well, for just a second,
Mine was the ass getting whooped, of course.
like focus or try to remember that feeling of getting those goals, because I think that's something of that they've realized in these games. Like that is the moment. Like that's what keeps you coming back. That's what makes me want to be on that game. So one of the things they've done is I think they've tried to just, you know, increase that feeling. And so the ways they've done that is I think the net, you know, like having it almost over exaggerated when it hits the back of the net and causes that to, you know, to kind of ripple sort of. And they've got this new thing, like when there'll be like some tiny stats that pop up when you shoot a goal, like how fast it was and like the miles per hour of the kick and things that are kind of in there. And there are some finishing moves of sorts that I've always had trouble. Like think of the difference of when a cross is coming across and you essentially one-timer it, like in a hockey type situation where, you know, versus you catching it and dribbling it a second and kicking it. Like there are those types of things that I think that's where, like, imagine if you cross Battletoads right with that at that moment, like where, you know, like you know how that giant punch comes out with the finishing move in Battletoads.
I mean, I know what you're saying.
Like obviously we don't want to leave. Like we're in a sim game here, so we can't go too crazy. But I think like you know, think about like what I think about is just ways to if you actually execute that skill move and one timer that thing, there should be something that you know, is like adds to that. I think like another example that they've done with that is they've added this after, like you can put custom sounds in that everyone hears after the goal. Like one of them's a horse, like the most popular one is a horse right now.
Oh gosh.
Like,
yeah, just going like,
yeah. And like I say, this is a sim, so it's supposed to be realistic, but there's a whole nother market like of, you know, like a Mario type soccer, you know, where, you know, like I say, you could have that giant foot, you know, type goal situation that I think is probably for me like where a lot of the fun is in soccer games. But
the article says there's not going to be a whole lot different in the new EA Sports FC game coming out. It says initially, apparently not much will change, at least in theory. However, the developer has far-reaching plans for the new brand. Oh, maybe there will be some larger changes. It's not just a rebrand, as it assures in the official announcement. And so looks like there's going to be some interesting changes coming with that. Are you going to get the new version when it comes out?
I don't know that I feel like a huge allegiance to EA. I think one thing that would make me get that is a mode that I'm sure that is kind of their property. That's called Pro Clubs, where you essentially create your own character, and as you play through these games, you when you do well, you get what's called skill points, which actually makes you better, and you slowly develop this character. And I really enjoy that. That's my favorite mode. I think there's another mode that's like Ultimate League or something like that that's super popular, where folks build their own team that has a similar component where you can change the names of the players and that kind of thing. Like, say if I was on a high school soccer team, I could literally make my team and have them play against you know, these famous teams.
That's dope.
Yeah. So that might make me come over there, but I think like that director, the guy that was kind of in charge of the FIFA brand, was saying that, you know, wherever this goes, it's going to be the best. So, you know, you can count on that. And so I tried to search for what they're possible. I think there's a game called Pro Evolution Soccer that is the
some people refer to it to PES or PES.
Yeah, it you know, if there is an alternative right now to FIFA, that's probably it. So I'm guessing that will be the folks that make the new game. You know, I mean, it would seem odd that they would just kind of, you know, go with somebody that had never made a soccer game before. But maybe, I mean,
we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
And it sounds like they're not giving this license away exclusively. Is what I sort of interpret as the rub is. So we may see more than one. You know,
more than one FIFA.
Yeah. Yeah, Pro Evolution, FIFA, maybe some other, obviously EA's out of the picture.
Maybe some Super Mario with FIFA or something.
Oh, I definitely think we're going to see that. I think that's coming out this year. I think maybe EA only has the license for the sim, the actual soccer realistic sim. And around the World Cup time, like this November or whatever, when that's going on there in Qatar, I think that they're going to try to introduce some games like the more cartoon type soccer, like I'm talking about.
Right on.
Maybe I'll get my Battletoads soccer.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, are you going to get FIFA 23?
Yeah, I think so. I've got FIFA 22, and They used to do this thing like where you could only get those skill points if you played in a club match. So it forced you to like join with other players and kind of meet people online. But the latest version doesn't require that. So, but I sort of plateaued and just couldn't really. I couldn't get enough performance to get any more skill points, and I kind of lost interest. So I hope they've done that a little different. But that'll be the first place I go when I open it.
Absolutely. I feel like there's and this goes with lots of games. There's a group of people that, buy FIFA games, and they're going to buy this FIFA game because they buy FIFA games.
Absolutely.
You got to complete the collection, especially since it's the last one. Well, Chuck, us and the gaming community at large, we hope you enjoy FIFA 23.
Yeah.
You're not going to see me on there, no, man. I don't want to come on there and start doing those headshot goals, getting you every time. Little headers coming in with them hitters.
You can, when you put all your skill points into heading, there's this big bull logo that goes with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You don't want to go against me, anyways, man. I'm one of those dudes that like I'll get a goal, start ripping my shirt off, running around the living room, yelling out "Goal!" throwing my arms in the air, jumping out of windows.
They're putting a lot of that in the game. Like as I understand it, like when people slide, it'll tear up the turf, and that slide will still be there. They hype that up, but I think it's funny how minute these changes are, and
and how big they make them sound. Yeah. Sound like, no, look at the grass, it looks real.
We locked ourselves in a bunker and started adjusting the grass.
Just for you, the player. That's cool. Well,
I'm sure
our next topic, my man, I was excited about this one because it's kind of mind-boggling for me. Just like even more mind-boggling for me than the record breakage of our boy Nifsky with Super Mario.
Yeah.
Smashing that record. 25 days ago, article came out. I think it was 25 days ago. It was definitely last month. This is last month news. Turns out there's this game they released like 30 years ago. It was extremely popular on the Super NES, which it was the successor to the NES, which we were just talking about. The Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Chuck, when did the Super Nintendo come out? Could you pull that up real quick?
I'm going to say 91.
On your devices?
I'm going to go with
91 sounds about right.
Yeah, what do you got for me? What's your guess?
What's my guess? I'm going to guess. Well, do you already know it's 91 or are you just messing with me?
No, it's just,
all right, I'm going to guess 1989. Super Nintendo Entertainment System. I don't know. I'm guessing 1989. We should know the answer to that, honestly. Don't hold it against us. What do you think, listeners? 89? 90? 88?
November 21st, 1990. 1990. I was graduating high school.
So the Super Nintendo comes out in 1990, November. That's awesome. During that, they released a game called Super Punch-Out, which is a boxing game. And there was an original Punch-Out, I think. I think it might have been on the NES.
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Was it?
Yeah, I feel like... was Tyson in both of these?
Gosh, I don't remember, Chuck. I mean, I remember playing him, but I don't remember if he was in Punch-Out. Shoot, now I feel like...
he definitely was in the first one. And I feel like it was called Mike Tyson's Punch-Out because you fought Tyson there at the end.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I definitely remember Super Punch-Out because the Super NES was one of my favorite consoles. It was so awesome, man. It was great. And it had Killer Instinct, remember? Which was a great fighting game. But anyway, Super Punch-Out comes out, and it was a hit. But 30 years later, and this is the part that I found mind-boggling, Unlisted Cheats, which is I'm not sure if he's a streamer or not. I think he is, but he's on Twitter, and he also goes by New Cheats News, I think. And I think what this guy does is he just builds his content around going back and finding cheat codes for games that were never discovered.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he posted a tweet on August 8th saying, while doing some request work, he casually found some new cheats in Super Punch-Out for Super Nintendo, and one of these cheats enables the player to access a 2-player mode, which I just like. I don't know where to begin with this, Chuck.
I got hung up at request work. Like,
yeah, like who? What?
Yeah.
Who was like, can you please find some undiscovered cheat codes for me on Super Punch-Out? You know?
Well, I pictured like some super wealthy guy, like kind of, he had that kind of dough, and he was like, is there any more cheat codes in this game?
Yeah, just in case. It's crazy. It says classic Nintendo game, and I'm getting this from GamesRadar.com. Classic Nintendo game Super Punch-Out has had 2 secret codes hidden within it that have gone largely unnoticed for the last 28 years. Okay, last 28 years. Well, largely unnoticed. I wonder what that means. Because the way I read this, it was like nobody knew at all that there was this 2-player mode. Okay. I don't think anyone knew. Maybe like a couple of people out there or something.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just saying largely unnoticed because they want to cover their butts.
And the developers had to know, and,
good point.
And their friends, probably. Or
Yeah, roger that. As shared by Twitter user @NewCheatsNews, aka Unlisted Cheats, the fighting game from 1994 is hiding a couple of cheat codes that not a lot of people know about. According to the tweet, all secret codes in this game use 2-button combinations. 2 of them are known, sound test and Japanese name input, but there are 2 more. The first find by Unlisted Cheats allows players to select any character to fight in a free single match. According to the tweet, all you need to do... and then it goes to describe the cheat codes. All you need to do to pull this off is hold Y and R, then press A or start. Once you've done this, a new screen will appear instead of the regular menu, which will allow you to select any character to fight in a free single match. Apparently, even fighters from Special Circuit are available to use. And there's like a image of that. It's really cool, man. I love seeing the old game artwork,
Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh, man, games are so different back then. So much nostalgia.
I wonder what this process is like. Like, how does he find these things? And
yeah, it says further down in the thread by Unlisted Cheats, the second of the 2 new discoveries is revealed. Apparently, once you select one of the fighters on the screen mentioned above and are on the character info screen, hold B and Y and then press A or start again, and you'll be able to control the CPU opponent from Joypad 2. Meaning you can fight against a real-life player too, and not a computer. That is crazy, man.
I think I read somewhere else that somehow they had determined that all of the cheats in that particular game were 2-button cheats. And to me, that revealed a little bit of how that process must work. Like once he knew that insert Japanese... those other tweets, like he knew those other cheats worked in that way. That was some clue. It seemed like almost, but
I wonder, when I read this and I saw this, the first thing that came to my mind was like our episode on cheat codes. And I'm just wondering, like, if this guy, was like like modifying peaks and pokes, doing that type of stuff like we talked about, or, you know, if he was just basically getting into the programming of the game to find these little, you know, these hidden cheat codes.
Yeah. I imagine he's made some tools that he uses that you know, since it is that technology, it probably has to use that. Yeah. So.
Yeah. He's definitely. I think this is all probably on PC, of course, but I wonder how they do that stuff, man. Like, are they doing it are they just finding these cheat codes in emulators, or do they actually have a Super Nintendo plugged in to a screen and a like a keypad type of adapter, or are they doing it from a controller? You know, is this guy just like sitting there trying to figure these codes out, or, you know, and I'm sure if we looked deeper, we would find the answer, but
I did see that this one is like it works on I think on the Switch, and the like it actually stood strong like on whether you're, you know, I can't speak for just individual emulators, but when it was ran on different platforms, it sounded like it was still there. So
yeah, on the Switch, I did see a video on YouTube of a guy putting it to test, and it worked. Yeah. It worked, and I think he said in the video that you could do it on the Switch. Man, I can't believe it was 30 years later that this, you know, became news. Like, it was really discovered proper. That was really what caught my attention, man.
Yeah. You know, like say that he's out there looking for that, and there are folks that are obviously still interested in this. It seemed like everyone gravitated toward the clown. I forget that character's name, but that seemed to be.
Yeah,
I think everyone has a huge emotional response to clowns. I'm scared to death of them myself. I'd like to beat that clown. Oh yeah. Pretty much across the board, they give me the creeps.
I'm typing in characters of Super Punch-Out. Let's see. Look at this game. Gameplay. Minor Circuit. We've got Gabby J, Bear Hugger, Piston Hurricane, Bald Bull. On the Major Circuit, we've got Bob Charlie, Dragon Chan, Masked Muscle, and Mr. Sandman. On the World Circuit, we've got Aaron Ryan, Heiki Kagero. Kagero.
God bless you.
That's funny. That could mean something different in Spanish. Mad Clown. Mad Clown, I think, is the one you're talking about, Chuck.
Yeah, dude, look at him.
And then
he's got a colostomy bag or something on the front of him there. I don't know what's going on there. It's that soft spot that you punch. It's like, dude. No thanks.
And then there's one more circuit with another 4 fighters: Narcissus Prince, Hoy Quarlo, Rick Bruiser, Nick Bruiser. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, no Tyson though. Let me see. Let me look up here with if there's the predecessor developer. NES, man. Released on March 1st, 1994. It was re-released on the GameCube too. I forgot about the GameCube. Let me find the first Punch-Out. What else we got, Chuck? What else we got for our listeners today?
As far as the Super Punch-Out goes, or other.
Oh, look, here's Punch-Out. Punch-Out was released on the original NES, and it was originally titled Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Interesting. Punch-Out, originally titled Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, is a 1987 boxing sports video game developed and published by Nintendo for Nintendo Entertainment System. Interesting. Part of the Punch-Out series, it is an adaptation of the arcade video game Punch-Out from 1984 and Super Punch-Out 1984. Differences from across the arcades include the addition of undisputed world heavyweight champion Mike Tyson as the final boss. Its wide critical acclaim includes many citations among the greatest video games of all time. Wow.
Dude.
Damn.
Dude, when I was a kid, like if you had HBO and like the Mike Tyson fight was coming up, dude, it was like the most excitement of the year. I mean, it was exciting. We had this little like room over a garage, and me and my buddies would get to go up there and kind of the first, like getting to hang out kind of by ourselves kind of thing. I was actually watching when Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson. Like it was like he shocked the world. I mean, Tyson seemed unbeatable. I mean, he would beat people in less than a minute. I mean, it was over quick. Most of those
to a pulp, man.
Yeah,
just so much, dude. There's so much strength. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think about him today, like the person he's become today. Like I don't know that I ever saw that coming. I think he's honestly just as interesting today as he was then, if not more.
Do you think, going off track here a little bit, do you think Mike, do you think his aura, his persona, his fame, whatever you want to call it, would be a little different today if he never bit that ear? Or do you think that was like a fundamental part of like who he is now today?
Well,
because you remember when that happened?
I do know. I wasn't thinking of that, but I've watched a good bit of material on him recently, and I saw this thing like where it's in his mind, it's almost like two personalities that he has, and he's actually very afraid of that personality, and himself, and so it doesn't surprise me that that's
you mean like where like he has an explosive side or a schizo side where he just like,
dude, I saw this video where he was kind of in a corner crying right before the fight, and like the I think it was when Customato was still with him, and he come over there and told him something like it's going to be okay, and it was like you could just see him switch into this other person, and like but the other part of him like knew that was coming, and his reaction was to start crying, like
weird.
Yeah, so it doesn't surprise me that part of him bit someone's ear off at all, or him, I don't think. And yeah, dude. I mean, it's just been like, like an amazing journey for him, as far as all the things that we've heard in the news. It sounds like, the pigeons, like I never saw that coming, the face tattoo. I mean, like I saw this video recently, like, he had taken mushrooms at some like tennis match or something, like when was it Vanessa Williams was playing, like I saw this footage of that just recently. I mean, he seemed to hold it together fairly well, but yeah, he's an interesting dude. But yeah, he was associated with this game, and yeah, to get to fight him. They captured him pretty well. I felt like for the times, like far as those graphics go.
You mean they drew him?
Yeah.
They drew him pretty well.
Yeah, they pixelated him right on up there.
That must be who's on the front. Well, no, that's number 2. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say that must be who's here on this artwork I'm seeing, but
he has this uppercut that I feel like is fairly unique. Like you kind of see it like,
in the game.
And also I've heard people analyze like how just like his body structure, like somehow like the way his muscles are attached to his bones is like fairly unique. That literally like that's what's giving him that leverage somehow. Like that it can't really be replicated. Oh,
that's interesting. Yeah. I'd probably put my money on training.
Oh yeah, obviously, all the things.
The way he was trained to do those uppercuts.
Yeah.
But
oh yeah. I mean, obviously that's a factor too. I mean, he definitely put the work in, but yeah, man, I think that's one of the things that you felt that hype in this game. Like you fought all these other clowns, and then you went for Tyson. And,
well, definitely in Punch-Out 1. I don't think Punch-Out 2 was the case.
No.
Super Punch-Out?
No. No, and I didn't get to play that as much. I think I'm sure I played it at some point, but it's not, a lot of those characters from the first one, like Soda Popinski and Don Flamenco and all those guys are just like, pounded into my memory, like, fighting them over the bull guy, and... yeah, they all had their little weaknesses,
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, what else we got here on our conversaciones?
Metal Hellsinger.
Metal Hellsinger. So, Metal Hellsinger, I've never seen a game like this ever.
No,
Ever. That's why I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's called Metal Hellsinger. It's a first-person shooter. It's developed by a company called The Outsiders, and I think they were bought by Funcom. Releasing on September 15th, but you can get the demo on Steam. I don't know if it's going to be releasing on console, but it's certainly going to be on PC, and you can download the demo. It's right here. I'm looking at it. And well, Chuck, tell him, man, you're a musician. Why is this game like what? Huh? But also so awesome.
It definitely piqued a lot of those feelings for me. You know, I couldn't just help but think of like, what are the origins of this, and how they, you know, I think my mind went to more like the Guitar Hero games, you know, where I think is the first place I remember seeing like timing something sort of, you know, and obviously that's more music based. Well, and
tell everyone give them some context.
What far as Guitar Hero?
As far as what's different about this game.
You're having to kill to the beat.
There we yes. Thank you.
and
it's a rhythmic first-person shooter.
Which, you know, I had some other memories too. I think I shared with you at some point that as I remember sitting in front of my Atari 2600 with my close friend from childhood, and we talked about what we wanted to do when we grew up. And one of the things we came up with is that we were going to invent a video game system that also incorporated music. Because at times we would do like these, not necessarily speed run, but like our gameplay would be enhanced by listening to music on a headset.
Yeah.
So yeah, I identify with this like right away. You know, I could see me playing this.
Dude, download it. The demo's there. It's releasing on September 15th. I don't know. I look at it and it reminds me of Doom. It reminds me of a game called Killing Floor 2 that I played a lot on PlayStation 4. It looks action packed. It's filled with obviously, you know, metal, rock and metal and thrash metal. I don't know what kind of metal it is. I don't want to get torn up by the metal enthusiasts out there going, that's not that, you know.
I'll show you metal.
I'll show you some metal, but but it's got metal in it, and right away the game starts with, you know, and you can see videos on YouTube, of course, of gameplay, but the music just starts going. You know, you can hear the and it just, you know, it gets you pumped, and you're supposed to kill the enemies to the rhythm of the music. And every track, and I'm reading now from the developer website, every track is created specifically for the game with vocals by metal icons such as Serge Tankian from System of a Down, Matt Heafy from Trivium, or Heffy, I'm not sure how to pronounce these names, Mikael Strain from Dark Tranquility, Bjorn Strid from Soilwork, Alyssa White-Glues from Arch Enemy, and James Dorton from Black Crown Initiate. Damn. We got some. So, there's not much more to say than that, right? It's this really cool idea. From watching the gameplay, and it looks super fun because you're effectively like kind of watching the player shoot their weapons in a coordinated manner. It's like, you know, it's like, what's going on? You know, and there's all these just like crazy demons and monsters coming out of everywhere, and the metal's just going. It looks fun, man. I'm not gonna lie.
It looks like you've got an incredible ability to jump somehow, because the footage I saw, it was like the guy was like, he was up in the air a lot, and I thought about what that would be like to you know, have that other character shooting at you or coming at you and having to wait for that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm curious about the timing with it. You know,
I will say,
if it ever gets annoying.
I think so. I think so because one interesting thing I have to point out here is you know I do like struggle with this as you know trying to play guitar is like keeping time, and it's really the space between the beats that is what's important. Like it's not the beat.
Oh, and it's treacherous.
And most people,
it's treacherous because it's like a little devil on your shoulder. That time in between the beat, in between the strum, in between the clap or there's like a little devil on your shoulder going, "Go ahead, strum it.
You better hurry. You better hurry and get that in there.
You're gonna miss it.
You've been struggling with that.
You're gonna suck again."
You're gonna miss it, and then you're gonna be late for that other part, and then you're gonna forget all of what you're doing.
And then the hot guitar teacher is gonna whoop your ass.
You might as well go just hang out on the one and wait for him to come back around again. Like,
might as well get that refund. Too late now. Give up. No.
$500. So, yeah. And what will amaze you, like to be able to play like those fast things, like one of the things they stress is going and playing incredibly slow, like setting a metronome like incredibly slow. So I would imagine all those things, like literally going through chronological, you know, scales, you know, because it's waiting that is so hard. You know, like we kind of just illustrated, you know, like that devil that you're talking about is what is so hard. So I imagine that's even amplified by the fact that you've got, you know, things coming at you that you need to get, you know, killed or whatever. But
yeah, multiplying.
Yeah, but it looked like the point difference in getting it right and not was about double. Like he would get like 16,000 points when it was kind of right. You know, it looked like Like,
when you fire the weapon or throw the blade or you know at the right timing. Hell, it might be there might even be some practical use with that game in helping actual musicians get timing.
I could totally see that. I think
via something they enjoy, which is gaming.
Yeah, and it sounded like as you got better, each part of the band kind of came in when the singing was kind of the final part. So I could totally see that. Like, you know, when especially if you timed it, you know, where you know, as you're progressing through that level, or right at the boss, you know, you had the whole band.
Oh, we're not going to find you on Ark or Eve. Chuck T's going to be just blasting zombies to the metal.
It looked really fun. I love the concept. And, you know, as I was looking for, you know, where the hell did this come from type things, I saw like Beat Saber. I have saw like virtual reality.
I've heard of that game.
Yeah,
I think I know which one you're talking about.
It's a popular one to stream, I think, and so therefore you see it on social media, and it'll be like I saw this. It seemed like this Asian girl was just like, I mean, it was like two Luke Skywalkers pretty much. She had one in each hand, and like the beat was like coming at her, and she's just.
Yeah, I'm making hand motions, ladies and gentlemen.
Speaking of hand motion, I saw a guy the other day. Sit down. I saw a guy the other day that pointed out that the light in the lightsaber has to have weight, because if not, that every lightsaber battle would be like this.
Yeah. The not lightsaber?
Yeah, because he's saying that, like, you know, if all that had to happen was that my stream of light crossed your body, I would just go like this. Like,
yeah, I see what you're saying.
And when they fight with them, they fight like they have
we're
swords.
Not supposed to think about stuff like that.
Oh, man.
You're ruining it. Just kidding.
You gotta go, yeah. Well, what about all those contractors on that one Death Star? You know, that like when they blew up the second Death Star, it's not even finished. Like, there's guys like plumbers and stuff that they'd probably brought in that, they
a couple of air conditioning.
Yeah, what am I going to
installed.
turn down that contract? I mean, it's the empire, but I'm not letting my politics get in the way of making some money.
2,000 units.
Yeah, these freaking rebels come out of nowhere and freaking blow the place up. And
They don't understand the working man.
It's never sit right with me. You're
Worse
right.
than the unions.
Now this lightsaber, yeah, you got to think about these things. Yeah, he probably had no choice. Like the union was taking the job, he had to go away
I
from
get it,
home.
man. I'm a Star Trek fan. Sometimes I wonder if there really are dilithium crystals out there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got to get this warp drive going, ladies and gentlemen.
No doubt. It's a big universe.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I do think that is interesting. Like kind of even tying this back into our Eve conversation. That one of the reasons I'm interested in space games right now is just all this new James Hubble Space Telescope stuff that's out there. I think we're going to start seeing some of that show up in video games. It's almost like our understanding of the Big Bang and all that is just getting turned on its ear. Like apparently, of what I'm gathering.
Yeah, there's a lot about that. It's all fascinating stuff too. Shoot. What else do you got, Chuck? I don't think there's anything left here on the old list.
I guess
Hey, my belly's growling. Did you hear that? I hope nobody heard that.
But if you saw this
A
trend,
little
like
stomach
where
fart.
people ask about, it's kind of like we're talking about, girls and like we're getting ready to date, or, maybe pick out a girl we'd like to go on a date with, and I'm like describing her to you, and I'm like, all right, Ovox, it's like there's this girl, like she's a 10, but she streams Valheim. What do you give her for a rating at that point? Does she go to a 6?
No. She's a 10.
Still a 10.
Yeah. She just hasn't played Ark yet. That's all.
She's played it and she hates it.
Well, I mean, you got to give me more. You got to give me more parameters here, because I'm not gonna hate on I'm not gonna hate on a young lady for her game choices.
These are like quick ones. Like this is a
It's
thing.
easier to hate on
These are-
Chuck
these are
Tomahawk.
things
You're
that-
not a hot chick. I can give you crap for playing Valheim all day. It doesn't get to me. Just kidding. I wouldn't do that.
You
I wouldn't
remind
do
me of
that.
this is exactly like this is a thing I've saw on social media a lot lately. They do this, and I was trying to come up with some, but you're exactly like me. It's like I need more information. Like it's like exactly.
I need context.
But they'll do these.
That's
it's
the
like,
way I work.
Yeah, it's like it's like she's a 4, but she plays Ark, and I'm like 10. Like
You mean 10.
exactly.
Oh, man. Well, you definitely, when it comes to having a significant other, if that person tolerates video games, it's kind of a win.
Yeah.
You're doing good at that point. Better yet, if she's all right with you playing video games, cool. If he or she's into video games, awesome. If he or she's into like the same games that you are, well, shit, man. I mean, that's just like,
It's kind of game over.
That's heaven.
Yeah.
That's unlimited lives right there. That's God mode, baby. That's, unlimited weapons, ammo, and hell.
Level up.
Where do I sign? Take my money.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll have some tougher ones for you next time, I think. Like some ratings. Yeah.
Oh man, look. Oh gosh. What was I gonna say? Just don't go out there trying to break no Super Mario records there, Chuck.
No speed runs, like an Ark speed run.
No speed runs, right? We don't need it. Listeners, don't go. If you get angry, don't go throwing your controllers and anything.
That's
trying
it.
to break no Super Mario speed runs.
Wonder what, like on official servers, the fastest anyone's ever made it to level 100 in Ark is. I bet that's out there.
I would say one gaming session, just one session.
On official, like no XP boosting. That'd be a while.
Yeah, one session. Yeah, they're out there. You just got to run those notes.
Those demons, yeah. No, I really don't have much else. I think I'm gonna play some Ark today. Yeah.
Let's wrap this one up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on our 10th episode of New Wave Gaming. It's been a fun one, and we will get back to you in about 2 weeks with another episode that you won't want to miss. I love you, Chuck Tomahawk.
I love you too, Ovox. See y'all in the next one.
Catch you later. Adios.